Hi, I'm Extraayogurt and welcome back to Building and Design Tips. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're not new, then welcome back. This is the fourth episode of Building and Design Tips, so let's go ahead and cover our topics. We'll be talking about wall coverings, floor tiles, ceilings, fences, and terrain paints. I wanted to start off by saying there's absolutely no wrong or right way to build. At the end of the day, this is a game, and really its purpose is to be enjoyable and fulfilling. Sometimes, especially if you're a long-time player like myself, you get to a point where you just feel uninspired or stuck. Maybe you're here because you feel like you could improve your building or just want to learn new techniques. Honestly, sometimes I just like to see what other people are up to in The Sims. So with that, let's start with our broad scale topics. There are so many factors in the real world that go into what materials buildings are made with. Obviously in The Sims, these things don't apply, but I think it can be helpful to consider. Let's talk about neighborhood themes and climates. If your neighborhood has a theme, is it based on a specific region of the real world? Is it based in a specific time period? The Middle Ages tends to be a very popular choice. Is it a rural neighborhood? Urban? Suburban? Or coastal, where you'll see lots of siding and shingles? It may even be a post-apocalyptic themed world where everything is super rundown. And of course, maybe you're building a subhood. Does your neighborhood have a specific climate? Obviously, the weather won't always be reflected in the materials of your builds, but it definitely can be. In a neighborhood where it's hot all year, you might find things like stucco, tile, and terracotta roofing to be a lot more common. In cold climates, you may find cabins and cabin-style builds to be a lot more common, and chimneys. In a tropical climate, you'll probably find a lot more wood, bamboo, and certain types of stone due to the humidity. Okay guys, so I think that's everything there is to cover about themes and climates, and now we are back at our example house that we've been working on for these past few episodes. And I should mention that the neighborhood that I'm in right now does not have any particular theme, and if it did, I would just say it's suburban. So we kind of have a lot of flexibility there with the style of our build, and as far as the climate, this neighborhood has all 4 seasons, so I'm not really going to take that into consideration when I'm choosing the walls and floors for this build. So the first tip that I want to share is to use a palette wall, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean. This really will come in handy if you're at a point like this where you know everything is blank and you don't know what wall coverings to use, you're not really sure what color scheme or what look you're going for. This is a good time to utilize the palette wall. I've also used this a lot if I get stuck in the middle of builds and I run out of wallpapers, or I get stuck just, searching the catalog. So for this house, I'm just going to use it right at the beginning and show you guys what I mean. And I wanted to build it here because the sun is perfectly shining on it so we can see the colors really well. So yeah, my advice would be to start with just one wallpaper. Any wallpaper you think that would look good on your build, just try to decide on one, and we can go from there. Okay, so this is the wallpaper I've decided on. It's this salt colored siding. I really like it because it is basic and it has a warm tone. And because all of our windows, columns, stairs, doors, everything are this brown color, I really wanted to continue that kind of warm tone thing we have going on. So Of course, if you wanted to, you could cover your entire house in this one single wallpaper, but we can elevate the look of the build a little bit more by using a wide variety of wallpapers. So from here, you can go into the catalog and try to find other wallpapers that kind of complement your first choice. And don't worry about the material. Don't think too much about those things for now, but just try to find things that kind of match your first choice here. Okay, so I made these two little homes to kind of give you a better visualization of warm versus cool tones. I tried really hard not to make it seem like cool tones equals light and warm tones equals dark, but I'm afraid that is kind of what happened here. But anyway, we have two very identical homes here, and this is our cool tone home. As you can see, like the hue of everything kind of leans towards blue a lot more rather than towards red and yellow. Now in our warm tone home, everything definitely is leaning towards kind of orange, red, and yellow. Like I said, I feel like I kind of did a poor job here, although these homes are really, really cute and I like them a lot. I don't want it to seem like warm tones means, you know, everything has to be black. And then of course there's a lot of things that kind of meet in the middle, like black and white can be in either sort of home. But and then we have our pools, cool tone, warm tone. Give you guys a better look. Okay, yeah, so hopefully that helps a little bit visualize it a bit better. Okay, so as you can see, I've chosen wallpapers that I thought looked nice. I've got all different types. I truly just clicked through the whole catalog to try to find things that I thought would complement this this wallpaper right here. So as you can see, pretty much all of these are very warm toned. Obviously, you know, I'm not like an interior designer, but I know that warm tones kind of lean towards the yellowish undertone, reddish, kind of warm feel, kind of like the sun. So yeah, this is what I've come up with. And now from here, this is where you can kind of pick and choose what you're going to use on your build rather than searching through the whole catalog over and over again. You kind of have a better point to jump off of. So let's go ahead and start painting the walls of the exterior. Okay, so now we have a good starting point, and from here I just wanted to show you guys how I would kind of make this look a little bit better. Even though everything is really covered, it still is not really balanced enough for my liking. So first off, on these little cutout sections, I kind of like to draw up the foundation and have it look a little bit more kind of like it's standing out from the rest of the house. And I might even say that looks like too much stone and instead change it to stucco. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. Okay, as you can see, I went a little bit off script here and I chose to instead draw down the siding in some sections and draw up the stone in other sections. So now we have siding here, stone here, stucco down here, siding here, brick here, stone, stucco, brick, siding, and wood paneling. We have a lot going on here, but it really does add to the look of the home. And maybe this doesn't look great to you now, but I promise in the end it will really come together. So from here, I'm gonna leave this wall up because I do also want to use this wall for the interior. Because I don't have any Sims living in this house, whenever I do builds that are basically plain and like move-in ready, I kind of like to make the interior match the exterior. Also, I should mention that of course you can do this with floor tiles as well. I just find choosing wallpapers a lot more overwhelming than choosing floor tiles. So yeah, let me go ahead and add some floor tiles to this porch and to our walkway, and yeah, so another quick tip is to rotate floor tiles. You can use your greater than, less than keys, because I do want this to match our driveway tiles, like so. And if you're ever confused on how to turn it back the correct way, because not all floor tiles can be rotated, like these for instance, whoops, like that is not right. So of course you can just use a floor tile like this and keep turning it until it looks the way it's supposed to. Another tip I wanted to quickly throw in is when you're using wood planks, any type of wood floor tiles, I really recommend taking note of the dimensions of the area that you're covering. Long areas like this, I really like to make sure the wood panels are going kind of with the dimensions of the area. So say if you had it like this, I really don't like the look of these like really short planks when the porch is so long. So just, I don't know if it's maybe my personal preference, or if that's actually more common in real life, but I do recommend going with the length of the area you're covering. I think it looks a bit better. And for garages, I tend to just use the same concrete covering regardless of the rest of the house theme. I just like it all to match and look like the same concrete is being used all around. Another thing I like to do that is really more personal preference than anything is to cover the inner walls of the foundation. If you're working on a budget, this is definitely not a good idea, because you're using up a lot of extra money covering a space that is inaccessible to your Sims. But if you're not worried about the budget, I definitely recommend this. And I like to make sure that it's the same covering as the outside of the foundation. Okay, I definitely understand if you feel that's unnecessary, because as you could see, it honestly does make me a little bit dizzy sometimes. But now we have everything all covered as far as the exterior and the garage, and now we are going to start messing with the interior. I really made sure to be careful with these continuous walls. That's another tip I have for you guys: anywhere where you have a wall that is more than one story, or it's visible and continuously goes upward, just make sure you're not putting wall coverings with kick molding in the middle there. So you just have it like kind of floating there and it doesn't really make sense. So just something to consider. So obviously I've just put the same wall covering all over the interior of the house. I'm going to use this as just a starting point, just to get things covered so I can see things better and kind of branch out from there. Maybe this is strange, but I really like the look of hardwood in the kitchen. So I don't think I've really ever done this before, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it now, using hardwood throughout, but two different types of hardwood in the same space. I don't think I've actually done that before, but for some reason I really like it. But yeah, and then I really just wanted to choose floor tiles that would complement this kick molding. But that doesn't always have to be the case, of course. I chose to go with carpet upstairs because that's typically something you see. Actually, one of you guys taught me that a lot of times houses use carpet on the upper floors for to kind of cancel out some of the noise that you get from upstairs. Now for the basement, I don't really have a good reason to use carpet other than the fact that I think it's cozy, and every basement I've been in has had carpet. So yeah. Another quick tip I have for you guys: sometimes you encounter situations like this. I don't want the kitchen to have this abrupt stop right here between the living space and the kitchen. I think it looks a little bit strange and it makes this space look extra narrow. So what I'm gonna do is extend this space out here and kind of cut it off using diagonal tiles. And to activate diagonal tiles, you just have your tile in hand, hold Control, and click F. And there you have it. So I kind of prefer something like that because it makes this narrow space feel a little bit bigger, and it kind of more seamlessly transitions you from the living room to the kitchen. And you might notice I do still cover inaccessible parts even inside the home with walls and floors, just because I think it looks cleaner when you cut away walls and you can see everything. Like this one as well. So I decided against the paint and kick molding in the bathrooms, and I'm changing it to tile. As you can see, I've chosen something that I didn't put on our palette, and I mean, that's totally fine. It was still pretty quick for me to find something that complemented the rest of the house because I've already got everything else sort of picked out. Okay, I think I actually really love this. This towel is perfect. I feel like it complements the window, and I feel like this floor tile really complements the lighter parts of this wallpaper. So I think I'm gonna go with that for the bathrooms. So I went ahead and bulldozed this and made it into an archway because I think I like the idea of this space being an office. Instead of the entire office having the same wallpaper, I decided to kind of split it up and have some wallpaper and some just plain paint, because I think that rooms that are completely wallpaper can be a little bit busy and overwhelming. So I just wanted to break that up with some paint. So I switched up the color scheme a little bit because I really liked this this wallpaper with this dark green kind of half. And of course, this one only had this gray variation, or top variation, I should say. And luckily, it also came with just regular plain matching paint. So I made sure to carry this down to this room where the stairs are connected, and to carry it up. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this. I don't know if I want to make this whole chunk this top color. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Or if I want to just bulldoze these half walls all together and do something different with it. Maybe full walls, or maybe a fence. Okay, I think this is going to be our solution here. And as you can see, I drew up this dark kind of red-orange color, burnt orange, paint upward onto the half wall that we used as well. Going back to the garage, I don't think I actually wanted to... Actually, I think I may carry this wood siding onto this inner wall. And maybe this wall too. I like that the garage looks like it was added on later in construction, or later after construction, I mean. That is something I do see quite often. Okay, yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And I really did repeat the same technique over and over again for this house. And I actually do like how it came out. Okay, there's just a few small tweaks I'm gonna make because some of this does not make sense and it's bothering me. I don't like where the terrain slopes down, and I don't like that I use siding here because obviously in the foundation of a house you would have concrete, stone, brick, something like that. There definitely would not be siding all the way down directly into the terrain. And like I've said before, this is just one of those things where I'm just being a bit extra. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, I think I want that to be stucco. Yeah, and then over here I just raised up the terrain so that this was a regular foundation height. This is something you would see. This is pretty normal. But going way deep down where the ground is actually sloped downward and still having siding, that would not make the most sense. And then also I'd like to add another bathroom down here because it just seems like a really big space to not have a proper bathroom. So yeah. So let's see, we have this big common area, bathroom, and a large room here. We have an office, another room, bathroom there, kitchen, living room / dining room. Then up here we have 2 bedrooms and a bathroom, and for some reason I feel like we could use 1 more bedroom up here. Okay, and I might be focusing on the layout a bit too much for the purpose of this video, but okay, let's go ahead and talk about the ceiling. And so, okay, first of all, let me delete this so it's out of our way. Secondly, we have a few ceilings to cover that might not be apparent right away, but underneath this right here, I would like to cover that ceiling with concrete. Same with the one over here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I broke my 45-degree view button somehow, so I have to kind of get creative when it comes to doing the ceilings. Dang. Okay, guys, so I can't get to the underside of these areas, and it's fine. I'm just gonna move on and ignore it. But what we can do is take care of the garage ceiling, which I would like to be concrete. And I'm just doing it like I would a regular floor. Yeah. Now for the front patio, I am going to use the same wood flooring, and it's already facing the right direction, so I won't have to rotate the tiles and cover that. Perfect. Now, because this is just a regular residential lot, I typically like to leave regular homes with this, you know, very common white ceiling. It's kind of like a soft ceiling. This is the ceiling tile. Very normal, very common for regular residential homes. So I'm just gonna leave that alone for the entire interior, because that is the default. And if this were a very fancy house, I may change the ceilings to something else, but it's just a normal home, so I'm gonna leave it as is. Also, if this were a commercial lot, I would definitely probably change the ceilings to something else. But something I like to say in a lot of my videos is to always cover your ceilings. It makes a big difference in the atmosphere of your build. Like I just said, I wouldn't for a lot like this, but for other lots, definitely would recommend covering your ceilings. Oh, I should mention that an alternative ceiling cover that I like to use is this one here. It's a swirl concrete, but this is actually a sort of ceiling pattern that I see a lot in older homes, and I think it looks quite nice. As you can see, it has well, I don't know, can you guys see that very well? But versus the regular white top ceiling, this one has a lot more of a warm tone to it, and I really like it. Actually, I think we may go ahead and use this one instead. Yeah. Okay, there's just a few more things that I want to do. And this, I don't remember why I closed that off, but I'm just gonna open that back up because why not? And then I think I also want to make the roof a little bit higher. This is another tip I have for you guys that maybe may sound a little bit cheesy, but take your time with your builds. Like, this is your masterpiece. There's no rush. If you need to exit the game 1,000 times to find like the perfect piece of CC, then you should do it. If you need to spend hours and hours on a build, then you should. Obviously spread out over a period of time, but yeah, like, this is your masterpiece, and I think that you should be comfortable making it exactly the way that you want. So yeah. Okay, yeah, I think the taller roof looks a lot better. All right, guys, I think we should go ahead and wrap up the fencing and terrain paint for this build. I know we've been on this lot the entire video, but after this, then we can go ahead and drop into some of my other lots, which are right up the street. All right, so I was kind of experimenting with some different fencing, and I thought this one was really interesting. But I don't know, that shade of brown was just kind of throwing me off. This seems to be the best match color-wise. But I just really, really liked those flowers. So I tried all of these different fencing with flowers attached, and they just weren't, the color is just not quite what I'm looking for. So I remembered in our half wall section, we have these, and I think I was thinking I could make something work with this. I like the way this looks, but maybe it's a little bit too closed off. So my solution was to do a little bit of both. I really hope you guys don't think this looks awful, because I just love this. Like, I fell in love with this. So this is what we're gonna go with for the fencing. So there's another little tip for you. Don't shy away from mix and matching different half walls, different fences. And when we look at some of my other lots, then I'll have even more to say about fencing. But something I really like to do, I mean, this house doesn't have any backyard access. I'm not sure why I didn't think to add that, but regardless, I really like to close off the backyard so that townies and others walking by cannot just roam into our backyard. Yeah, so that's really just to kind of keep townies and things from wandering into our backyard, stray dogs, you know, digging holes in our backyard, and Sims running over there to splash in puddles after it rains, and then they get struck by lightning. Yeah, I guess I really didn't have a lot to say about fencing for this build, but like I said, let's just go ahead and finish this out. So, terrain paints. This is something I like to do literally, I think, every single build. And I start with just a nice green terrain. I really do tend to build suburban neighborhoods a lot, so this is kind of always what I end up defaulting to. And then using a smaller brush, I select this dirt clod terrain paint, and I kind of take it and highlight around wherever there's floor tile, driveway, even fencing, and the base of the house entirely. Just kind of highlight it. And I'm trying to use really light brush strokes, as light as I can manage. And then I kind of just go all around the lot and just lighten up certain spots. Now we have a very dusty look going here, Then I select the same green that I started with again, and then I lighten it up even more, going back over those spots. I think I want to leave these areas where the terrain dips down a little bit more brown than other areas. So it's literally just like you're painting a picture, just blending things out, making it look more cohesive. So you might end up with something like that. Honestly, I didn't do a great job this time, but this is my favorite thing to do. It's sort of like just weathering the grass so that it's not perfectly green. Even on the on really nice houses, estates even that I build, I still weather the grass just a little bit to make it look less harsh and more natural. So until our next episode, I think that pretty much wraps up this lot for now. And now I would really like to look at some other lots. Okay, so clearly this is the mother of all builds. You'll have to excuse the frames that we start dropping on this massive lot. This is actually my most recent build, and I thought this was a great example of, first off, weathering the terrain. Even though this is clearly a very like nice luxury house, I still chose to weather the terrain. In fact, if I put all the walls down, you can see I've still sprinkled that kind of light brown dirt everywhere. I like to think that it kind of looks like dead grass or kind of patchy grass. I also wanted a second to talk about the roof. So I've used lots of different floor tiles. I've used this white tile, this concrete tile. I've used this black tile as well. And I've kind of placed them in a way where everything that is surrounded by this black trim half wall has black tile. Everything surrounded by this white trim half wall has white tile. So it's created this very interesting rooftop, all with the use of floor tiles and of course wall coverings and half walls. Now I especially wanted to talk about the ceilings in this build. I definitely took extra time here to make the ceilings more interesting. So as you can see, I've not only changed the ceiling tiles, but I have sectioned it off according to the space that it's in. So the kitchen has this wood plank ceiling, and right above the stove there's this kind of tile. And I thought that would be just a really nice touch. Now in the entertainment room, I've done the same sort of wood paneling, except darker, and I made sure that it was going long ways because this is a very kind of long room. And above the pool table, I used this marble floor tile for the ceiling. Much like in the kitchen, kind of highlights the area above the pool table. And of course this wood paneling lines up really nicely with the wood paneling on the walls. I've also used the marble tile above the bar area. Just a nice way to kind of highlight it. Now in the gym, it's no different. We've also changed the ceiling tiles here using just this sleek black tile. And it really makes the gym feel much more moody and dark. Sorry, I keep clipping through walls, guys. And above the hot tub here, we have another shade of the same wood paneling and wood flooring. Now in the library, right above the gym, we have another shade of the same wood paneling. I love this wood paneling, if you guys can't tell. And this time I've also outlined this overlook with the swirl concrete tile. Now moving out here, you'll notice that we have just a gray ceiling, and this is actually a gray linoleum from the catalog, but it really complements the color theme of this space well. Lots of grays, lots of blacks, and yeah. The wood used in this space is very pale, and I feel like the gray also complements that well. In one of the bathrooms here, you'll see that there's some more of that same wood paneling and in a different color. Very versatile. I really, really love it. While pretty much all the other bathrooms have this sleek white tile as a ceiling and marble tile for the floors. I've even gone as far as to utilize this clear floor tile both on the ceiling of the pretty much literally the bottom of the foundation and the floor here. So it's like a kind of little glass walkway so that you can see the pond. It doesn't look quite as cool as I thought it would in my head, but just an idea for you guys using different types of floor tiles. Now here we are at one of my other builds, which is a salon, and I really just wanted to come here to show you guys the floor tiles. So in this build, I chose to use two different colors of linoleum, this white linoleum and this light gray linoleum, and I literally used a half fence to draw out a design and fill it in with the white linoleum. And the result is this really cool design, which also very nicely kind of frames all of the salon chairs. Now we are right next door at the next lot, and this is a flower shop that I built, and I wanted to show this build off because of the unique ways that I've used fencing. And firstly, I added just these standalone pieces of fencing to have something to landscape around, and it kind of the landscaping kind of perfectly frames the fencing. So obviously this is not made for privacy, it's just sort of for aesthetics, and I really like that use of fencing. Also on the sign, I've sort of I guess capped the tops of the walls with this half fence. I think it makes it look a lot more polished and finished. One more thing I really like about this build, same kind of technique as in the salon. I used two different types of floor tile, this pearly white tile and then this black linoleum, and same sort of thing. I used a flat half fence and I drew out a design, and yeah, just filled it in with the colors that I wanted. This wood paneling never fails. I feel like it's so good in any build. Yeah. Alright guys, here's another ridiculously huge build that I wanted to show you guys. I honestly thought my game was not going to load this up again, but this is an airport that I built a little while ago, and I wanted to show off more unique uses of floor tiles, specifically those clear floor tiles. Not only do I have them here on the top of the building, but of course I went under and added them to the ceiling here. And I was able to make some cool little designs, and I think it's really, really nice. Although it doesn't let in any actual light, it does give that illusion that it's like a skylight. So yeah. Of course, other areas of the build also have painted ceilings. Like I said, this will make a huge difference in your community lots. All right, so I wanted to drop into this park that I built a really long time ago because it is very, very terrain paint heavy. In fact, the terrain paint pretty much makes up so much of the makeup of this build. It's very weathered. I've used probably 5 or 6 different terrain paints and just layered them over one another. The landing at the top of each set of stairs is kind of heavily, or more heavily, painted with this light brown dirt terrain. Around every bonfire, there's the mixed pebble terrain, and pretty much all around there's a little bit of pine needles, dark green grass, light green grass. And yeah, it all came together really nicely to make the landscape look a lot more natural. This was such a fun lot for me to build, guys. It's been so long since I actually visited this lot. So okay, so we're right back in yet another humongous build. But I did think that this one would be a good showcase of ways that you can utilize those half fences for things other than landscaping. So I've kind of used them all around here as a I'm not really sure what you call it, but it's sort of like a shade above the balcony here and above the walkway over here. I should also mention that as a ceiling detail, I utilized these wooden blocks that came with, I want to say Glamour Life, I'm not certain. But I'm not really sure that I'm using them right. However, I do recognize that they do add a cool detail to the ceiling. And of course, I almost forgot to mention the use of terrain paints here that I used to create a golf course. So let's see, hopefully I remember this correctly. This small green circle is where you would start swinging, and then your goal is to make it over here. And of course, this is the sand pit here. And here's another variation on this side. Finally, the most important tip I can give you is to use walls, floors, fencing, and terrain paints to your advantage to make things into something that they're not. You could create brewing tanks for a restaurant. You could add HVAC units to the top of a commercial building. You could add a security checkpoint to your airport. You can make sure your airport has a plane and plenty of overhead storage. You could add a fire pit to your spa. You could add different types of fish tanks or kelp tanks, or even coral displays. You can make planter boxes. There's even a wallpaper with the lighting sort of built in. You could make short lampposts with pieces of foundation. And I pretty much can't count how many times I've made my own rugs with pieces of carpet. You can use fencing to make wall decor. And if for some reason you need a zombie teleporter, you can do that too. Also, you can use terrain paints to create debris and rubble. And that sums up building and design tips for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. If you stayed through all the way to the end, or if you even just watched a little bit of this video. I know I had so much to say, but once again, I appreciate you for watching. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.